Let's bring in a member of the House Appropriations and Rules Committees for reaction, Pennsylvania Congressman Guy Reschenthaler. Congressman, welcome and good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. And as always, just call me Guy, please.
Congressman, we have to be, I know you're a former congressman.
Yes.
I can still call you. What do Americans need to know about this bill? People hear trillions, this and that. It's just kind of hard to wrap your minds around it.
Well, I think what everybody needs to know is that we need to have a plan that's reasonable, responsible, and sensible. That's Kevin McCarthy and the House Republicans' plan right now. Because we really have two options. Either we're going to pass our own bill and force the Senate to act, force Joe Biden to negotiate, or we're going to get jammed up at the last minute and have to pass a clean debt ceiling increase, which is good for nobody. So I think that later this week, the House will pass the current plan under the current framework, and then it'll be on Chuck Schumer to react. It'll be on Joe Biden to crawl back to the negotiating table with Kevin McCarthy. That's what we're looking at.
Well, you know, Congressman, I sat in the seat, and I got to tell you that they never let a good crisis go to waste, right? So, and where there isn't a crisis, they'll create one, right? So, you know, here's what White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre had to say this week about Biden's economy.
69% of people polled by CNBC say they have a negative view of the economy. President Biden talks about the economy all the time.
He talks about
people buying it.
He talks about the economy all the time because he wants the American people to know that he's doing everything that he can to make sure that his policies that he's put forward that has shown that he's building an economy that doesn't leave anybody behind. That builds an economy from the bottom up, middle out. And he also talks about the economy. And when you hear him talk about the economy, he talks about how he's prioritizing making sure that we lower inflation. And that is where the American people are, meeting them where they are.
So, you know, Congressman, she's talking about how the president's worked so hard to lower inflation, but didn't he spend an absolutely enormous amount of money? And then, you know, a lot of it was under the guise of climate, you know, change and all of this. But the reality is, when you spend that much money, you're going to have inflation. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. And listening to the press secretary with that explanation, I'm trying to figure out, is gaslighting one word or is it two? Because that is complete gaslighting. I can tell you why we have inflation, just as you were saying, pumped way too much money into the economy long after COVID was over, saying that we still had the COVID emergency, doing more COVID spending plans, and then at the same time turning around and declaring war on our energy industry. We used to be a net energy exporter under President Trump. Now we're relying on foreign nations, many of whom are hostile to the United States and the West, for our energy supply. So now the cost to do everything from heating your home to get groceries to the grocery store, to manufacture products, that is increased, and that too is leading to inflation. So the way to get inflation under control here is to pass this reasonable, responsible, sensible framework that Kevin McCarthy and House Republicans have, and make sure that we do three things simultaneously. Number one, we've got to limit government spending. The plan does that. We've got to save taxpayers money. The plan does that. And we've got to grow the economy, which the plan does, because it unleashes American energy. For example, there's the RAINS Act that's part of this plan, which would bring the uncontrolled federal bureaucracy under control. That's the path forward. The path forward is not giving a blank check to government with a clean debt ceiling increase. That is the wrong approach to get the economy back on track.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Congressman. I'm sorry, I got to say it. It's in me. Pennsylvania Congressman Guy Reschenthaler. Thank you, sir.